I've been asked many times in classes or in my seminars, what makes a good life according to 八字 astrology or according to Chinese metaphysics? How do we see that in a chart? What do we look for? What are the signs? So this has been a big topic, I think, for a lot of students and practitioners alike. How do we actually recognize this from a chart? Or can we even recognize it from the makeup of a destiny chart? Before we talk about this, remember, if you are new to this channel, please leave me a comment, tell me your name, where you're from, and how you get into metaphysics. And if you're already a member of this channel, please do share with us your experience in using metaphysics or using any of the information from the video in the last couple of days or months. If you've been watching it for some time now, how it has helped you and your friends. And also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel by hitting on the subscribe button, hitting on the like button to give us a thumbs up, and also to forward this video to all your friends. Now, I think it doesn't come as a surprise for people who seek astrology advice or metaphysics counseling to want to know what is a good life or what is a best life or what is the best chart. In fact, there's a form of 八字 counseling or 八字 consulting called Caesarean birth date calculation, and the gist of that practice is really to go and select a date of birth that has all the good elements to make such a thing called a good life. Now, is it possible to have a good life in a chart? Well, generally, if you're looking at metaphysics perspective, a good chart is supposedly one that has balance of elements, okay? Balance of the 5 elements. Now, if you're not familiar with Chinese metaphysics, what it means is the balance of elements is fire, metal, water, earth, and wood, and so forth in the quality and quantity and appearance that is supposedly balanced. But of course, this is arbitrary, right? This is basically arguable on whose perspective it is so-called perfect or balanced. So then some people will say that's not possible to actually see a perfect life from chart because no life is perfect, okay? So then again, okay, there's such people do experience a good life, right? Now the thing is, we first have to define what truly is a good life. Now, if I ask you right now, and I rewind back your life to maybe at a time where you are in your college days, you know, in your younger days where you're just starting out in your life, what would you want to invest in your life at that time to achieve the best possible future self for yourself? Think about it, okay? Where would you put all your money or your time, your effort, your energy into? If you had a sort of a time machine right now and you go back into, you know, maybe 15 years old or 16 years old when you're just starting out right now, where would you decide to put all your time and energy and effort in? Okay, now of course, if you ask the average millennial right now or the younger people, the generation, or if you just ask anyone in social media today, right, whether it's in TikTok or in Instagram or anywhere you're probably popular or most of the time you're watching in, most of the time people will say, I want to be popular, right? I want to be famous. I think a lot of our younger generation like to do that. I mean, at one point in my younger days, I also want to be super famous, become a superstar, right? So that's possibly one of the things that people think they want to become. And of course, the second and most common one, which everybody probably have gone through that phase before, is to become enormously wealthy and rich, right? Because that's probably a most common life goals, to be rich and famous, right? So that's what they say, okay? So the thing is, what really, if you look at the metaphysics perspective, metaphysics do come from the study of the I Ching, okay? Now the I Ching is, some people pronounce it as the I Ching or write it as the I Ching. It's you can say it's a book of philosophy more than it's a book of oracle. Some people call it a book of oracle, but that book talks about a lot of philosophies of life and how one should live their life in accordance to the Tao, right? In accordance to the principle of harmony and balance. But if you think about it, truly what makes a person's life meaningful and happy is the quality of their relationships. You think about it, right? Now, I know what you're thinking. The first thing you think is quality of love. Wow, it's got to be love now. No, I'm not saying love per se. I'm talking about the quality of the relationships that a person have with themselves and also with other people. If they're very connected with themselves, with their own energy, with their own thoughts, with their own feelings, with their own physical being, and of course with other people as well, that sort of interaction and connection, that is the relationship I'm talking about. And that is something that in all the old books in metaphysics called harmony. Okay, because for the longest of time, when I first started as a student of feng shui, most of the time you say, oh, create harmony, create harmony, create harmony. What harmony with what? Right? Harmony with the environment, harmony with this. But at the end of the day, now you are, as I've grown older and as I study metaphysics in so many years now, I see so many clients, I start to realize that what it really meant by harmony is when you truly can attain harmony with yourself as well as with the people around you. And when you have truly meaningful relationships, as opposed to having toxic loneliness, that's when you achieve, that happiness. And that's when you have this harmony, that happiness, and that makes, living a good life possible. So really, the definition of a good life is one where you have a harmonious relationship, right? So when you're more connected, you feel happier. A harmony, if you imagine now, your thoughts are harmonious. If your thoughts are harmonious, that means they are naturally stable, calm. They are in a pleasant state. It doesn't cause you stress. You're not envious of anyone. You're not worried about anything. You don't pressure yourself. You don't, basically you don't screw yourself over. You don't cause yourself pain. Imagine if your thoughts actually agree with you. Your inner self agrees with you. You feel at harmony, right? And when your own emotions, that feelings of yours don't act up all the while. They start worrying about this, worrying about that, anxious about this, anxious about that. If that itself is harmonious, that you achieve happiness. You achieve, there's some sort of a calmness being with you, okay? Some people can't even be alone themselves, right? Being alone, like, wow, if they're unhappy with other people, they can at least blame someone. They can blame their friends, they can blame their wives, and blame their husband. Even on their own, they're unhappy and they're toxic to their own selves. That could be quite miserable and sad, isn't it? Right? So at the end of the day, you could see that people can be lonely even if they have a lot of friends on Facebook, right? A lot of friends in the crowd, right? Even if they have a long marriage, they could still be lonely, right? The thing is, they don't achieve the harmony within themselves. So the quality of that harmonious energy is what makes a good life. And so that's why it's reflected in the old books as a balance of the elements. We're talking not just balance here. We're talking about one's awareness of that energy. So having a balanced chart itself doesn't automatically make a person have a good life. They have to understand mechanics and the faculties of these energies. What do they represent in their thoughts? What do they represent in terms of their own lives? How do they represent in terms of their own physical well-being? And how does it represent in terms of the universe energy and their intuitive energy and so forth? And if they understand how to align that through all this energy, these 5 energies of theirs, they will achieve that harmony. So don't worry if you look at your chart and say, oh, I have all these clashes, it's an imbalanced thing. It just means that you have some work to do, right? It just means that you have some work to do to understand how you could manage that energy realm, manage that thoughts, manage that sort of feelings that you have, sometimes overwhelming, right? You're going to be able to manage it because it's yours. You're born with this energy, right? That's why you have this energy chart to show you what you have. The chart doesn't make you. Some people have this idea that, oh, I have such a chart and I'm not happy with it because this chart made me like this. The chart didn't make you like this. The chart just informs you, well, it's just the readings, right? It's like having a report, right? And once you understand it, now you become more aware. So the idea of understanding metaphysics, and particularly Chinese astrology, whether it's Pazi or Ziwei or any form, is so that you gain conscious awareness of your energy pattern, or your energy makeup, so that you can start to exercise some form of responsibility and control over it. The thing is, freedom is the ability to exercise your ability to respond to this. Some people think that freedom is they do whatever they want, right? They can be nasty, they can be doing all this shit stuff. That's not real freedom, right? Freedom is to be able to exercise your respond to these things. Respond to how you thought, respond to how you want to feel, and respond to how your physical well-being is like. you have control over it. So the idea of having astrology or having your parts, whether it is 5 elements, it's balance, imbalance, missing element or no missing element, it's not the big problem. The big problem is, or the challenge is, can you respond to it, or are you willing to take responsibility of that chart? Now, even if you don't know astrology, I'm not promoting that you must know astrology. Come on, that's not the way. That's not what I'm saying. Even if you don't know it, it's fine, right? You can explore this through your own life. Your own life experience will teach you the same thing. At the end of the day, if you're not going to be happy, even being with yourself, then you won't have a good life, right? You can have all these material wealth and whatever, nice clothes that you want to buy to show off to other people, all right? But what's the true meaning, right? At the end of the day, you're just confusing pleasure with true happiness or true harmony. Pleasure is when you have that Rolls Royce, have that nice sports car. When you pleasure, right? You have the nice food, or even have great sex. That's just the pleasure, but it doesn't last, right? The thing is, when you're truly happy, is even without this, right? You have a balance in terms of your thoughts, your emotions, your well-being, your wellness. You actually feel great, right? That and great relationships with other people, that you're connected intellectually. You're also connected in a way that you understand each other, that instead of all the pleasures we talked about, that itself is more meaningful. So now your life has meaning, right? So if you think about that, that is what we look for in an astrology chart. It's not just about balance of elements or wealth element and influence element and you got to be really wealthy to make a good life. No, that's just some other people's definition. At the end of the day, it's you. You got to feel happy, right? You got to feel harmonious when you are with you, right? You are the person that is stuck with you. You are with you forever. So you better be happy with you. If you're not going to be happy with you, I'm afraid you have bad company for the rest of your life. So this is the thing, right? So take responsibility of it. If you want, you can learn some astrology to understand how you can control your thoughts better, your emotions better, how you can direct it better. If not, then you use life experience. That's the greatest teacher. So I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something from it. And please tell me your experience in this, how you have learned about your own life and how you have achieved a good life. And share your experience with other people. Give this video a thumbs up and share with all your friends. Appreciate that. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next mini lesson.